I'm Elisa, and I am the Scrappy Wife behind scrappywife.com, and today I have a traveler's notebook process video for you. I'm going to be using these pictures from the 4th of July. I'm just now starting my July traveler's notebook, and I have these pictures of my kiddos having fun in our cul-de-sac and setting off some sparklers and some fireworks. I'm going to be using these Kelly Perky papers right here, and then some scraps that I have, along with these banner stickers that I believe I picked up from the dollar spot this summer, knowing I'd probably want to use them, and now is the time. So I will put you guys on fast forward, and this should be a pretty simple layout, nothing too crazy, but let's see what happens. So I did a video a few weeks ago about organizing my scraps, and I will link it below because I can honestly say I have been using my scrap paper way more. Now that it's organized by color and in these easy to reach envelopes, I grab for it all the time, especially when I'm doing these traveler's notebook spreads, because the format is so small that scraps just work really, really well. I have these 3 pictures. It's of each of my kids holding a sparkler. They were so cute and so excited. My boys had never seen fireworks before, and I hadn't really realized, but with them being twins, we just haven't taken them out to those big public displays. They're a little bit, my boys are just hard to handle sometimes, I guess. So this was their first time, and they just loved it. I am mounting each of these 3 pictures on blue scrap paper, and I'm using 3 different shades of blue, and my plan is to connect all 3 together using a decorative brad. Now, you'll have to let me know in the comments below if this just completely dates me, but I remember when these decorative brads were just all the rage in scrapbooking. Back when I was in college, it was like the thing. And so I have all of these brads that I just think are super cute, but I don't see anyone using them anymore. So I wanted to use the brad, so I have those stacked, and here I'm just trying to fuss around. That Kelly Perky paper on the left is red, but it's kind of an orangey red, and so I end up changing my mind, and I want to go with a more true red, and I'm grabbing just some scraps. These are some kind of scalloped scrap paper that I got from a friend that was getting rid of her scrapbooking supplies, and I'm going to use them to create kind of an abstract flag, I guess. It's going to be some red bars, and I'll put those along the left side of the page just to make it a little bit more festive. And instead of using a whole sheet of paper, I'm actually getting to use pieces of scraps that I would not have normally used. So I'm putting them there, staggering them. I'm not measuring the distance. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and I don't really want it to be even in the first place. I kind of want it to change it up, just to add some variance. It's just to add a little bit of red and a pop of red over to that left side of the spread. Now, here's the point where I'm going to take those 3 photos and I'm going to put them together using a brad. And I just have the lightest color blue on top, and I'm taking my detail scissors right here and poking a hole through the first one, and I'm going to line up my second one right behind it just to make sure the holes line up. And I'm just using, you can use a needle, you could use a variety of things. I'm just poking through the paper, the photo, and the paper, and then I'm going to use a star brad that I had in my stash of fun brads to just connect it. I love this effect. I love being able to have interactive elements in my traveler's notebook, kind of hidden moments, hidden photos, and I think this is a fun way to include a lot more photos on your spread. Now, I'm trimming out this Kelly Perky paper. I'm going to take this blue box right here, the white box that's outlined in blue, and I'm going to use it as an element on my spread. I fuss around a lot with the layout on this double page right here, just because it's been a little while since I've done a traveler's notebook spread. I'm behind. Obviously, I'm just now starting July, but sometimes I don't know, I kind of second guess myself when I'm sitting down and I haven't done a TN spread in a while. And it's interesting because once I sit down and start doing it and get out 3 to 4 spreads at a time, then it really starts to flow. And so getting started sometimes is bumpy, but once I get started, then it all kind of works out. I decide I'm going to have my pictures over here on the left side where I have this red line, red decor. I'm thinking, do I add a tab? I'm just kind of messing around, and I decide I do want some dark blue over there. So I'll adhere the picture of all 3 of those kiddos, and I'll matte it with the dark blue, and I am going to have a thicker matte behind it so you can see more of the blue. And I'm pretty pleased with the placement of the pictures on the left side, and I'm going to try to figure out how I want to do the right side. So I've spent quite a lot of time fussing. I decided that this white block over here needs something to pop against. So I'm going to include another bit of the red scrapbook paper, and I'm going to bring in that dark blue. I have that large matte over there on the left side, and so bringing in a large dark blue bar on the right side will help kind of balance it out, and it allows that white box where I'm going to put my title to pop out even more. I'm going to add the title, You Light Up the Sky, and to do this I'll be stamping it on with a variety of different alphas, and I'm going to start with the Elemental Alpha from By the Well Forgotten. This alpha stamp is my go-to now. I love how bold these letters are, but they don't feel heavy, if that makes sense. They're a great size. Normally I'm not one that does a huge title, but I just really liked the idea of You Light Up the Sky for this one, and it taking center stage here on the right side. For the next alpha, I'm going to use Emily's Alpha from Illustrated Faith. This one was part of their restock during the summer where they brought back several previous stamp sets that they had, and so I'm going to add the word light, and you'll see me have a little bit of oops here. I ink up my stamp, and then I think that I'm going to position my stamp and kind of get it in the right place, and I accidentally touch it down to the page, so I am stuck with where I touched the stamp down, so it's not totally centered, but that's okay. I think part of the charm of handmade items is that they're not perfect, and that's okay with me. The last alpha that I'm going to use is the Sassy Lower from By the Well for God, and this came out earlier in the summer. I love the style of it, and I love how small it is because it fits really well. It allows me to kind of get more on to a line, so I'll be able to fit the whole phrase "the sky" all together on this line. You can see it's I kind of line them up on my stamp block. Now I have some stamp blocks with grids, some without. Whenever I'm doing alpha, I do like to use a gridded stamp block. That way I can line up my letters to make sure they're not kind of wonky on the stamp. And my title is done. The next step is to start adhering things down. So I start with my large title piece right here, anchored on these 2 strips of paper, and I like how they really set it off. And then I'm going to pick one of my banners right here, adding it on at an angle so as to not cover up the title, but I like how it fills up that white space a little bit at the top. And I'm kind of fretting about where to put my photos, and I decide, you know what, I'm just going to adhere them down and work from there. I want to use these other banners because I've been in a kick recently to try to just use my supplies. I am a recovering supplies hoarder. I like to keep my pretty supplies. I think they're beautiful, but truthfully, the reason I buy them is to use them. And if I'm not going to use them, then why am I buying them? So I'm going to go ahead and try to use all of these banners because I don't want to hold on to just one little banner. It'll just get lost in the shuffle. So here I am kind of fidgeting, messing with my banners, but I really like how they create some lines on the page and how they break up the vertical and horizontal lines that I have going. So I like putting them at the angle. I don't yet have a typewriter to type in my journaling, so here I'm going to draw some lines in pencil just so that as I write I know that I will be staying on a straight line, and then I'm actually going to write out my journaling in pencil. This just makes it easier, so I know I have a limited amount of space and I know what I want to say, and I just want to make sure that what I say fits in the space, if that makes sense. So what I do is I write it out in pencil, and then I'm going to go back over it with my micron pen. I'm using the 0.02 size. The layout is getting close to done, but I feel like there needs to be more detail over on the left. So I'm using these tiny alpha stamps. These are from Illustrated Faith, and they were a bonus when I bought some stamp sets this summer. And they are tiny, and so they're actually a little bit difficult to put on the stamp block. But over here I'm going to add the phrase neighborhood party, and it just takes a little while because I have to reuse letters and deal with these tiny stamps. In retrospect, I wish I had just used either little stickers or just written it out, because those stamps were a little bit fussy to deal with. I have some from Michael's that are on little stamp blocks that I think might be a little bit easier to deal with, but it works in the end. I get neighbor, and I'm going to add hood and decide, well, party's not going to fit like I think it's going to, so I end up handwriting the word party. So I actually live near Washington, D.C., and my husband is in a military band, and so he therefore is always working on the 4th of July and often in downtown D.C., but we have never taken our kids there. It's because I would have to take all 3 kids by myself, and it's kind of really packed and busy. It seems a little scary to me to take them into the city. So I was super thankful for our neighbors who always invest in some awesome fireworks, and they invite us out, and my kids enjoyed getting to see it this time. I let my boys stay up late so they could watch the fireworks with their friends in the neighborhood, and it was a really fun time to just bond as neighbors. You can see here that I'm just going to handwrite in the word party because I'm afraid that I won't be able to stamp and make it fit, and that works great. I come back with an eraser, erase all the pencil lines and the markings over here on the right side, and I'm going to call my layout almost done, except as I was finishing I noticed some trapped white space, and trapped white space is just a spot on the page that is white and is kind of bound in by other objects. And if you notice, it's up there on the upper right hand side, and trapped white space is kind of a no-no, I guess, in art layouts. So what I'm going to do is decide to add in the date. I'm going to pick my roller date stamp, set it for July 4th, and add several stamps of the date, just testing it out over there on my scrap paper, getting it all cleaned off, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times because I like that effect. It feels lucky to do. I hope you enjoyed this process video today. Let me know in the comments, are you still documenting summer, or are you all caught up and moving on to fall? If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as that bell notification button. I hope you have a fantastic day, and as always, keep it creative.